When the visit starts, the Prime Minister is going to France. France is the major power in Europe. He's reaching out to US and he's reaching out to Europe. The Prime Minister is going to France for the Artificial Intelligence Summit, which he is chairing. Now, artificial intelligence is actually going to be the key to India's manufacturing. There has been a lot of back-channel communication between Jaishankar and his counterpart Marco Rubio, between Ajit Doval and his counterpart Mike Waltz, between Defense Minister Rajnath Singh and his counterpart Headset. Here is Narendra Modi, who says it is India's first. There is Donald Trump, who says make America great again. There is a lot of intersection between them. Yes, the two understand the competition that is coming from China. Yes, the two are independently challenging it, but to say that joining hands, no, they are not. There is no defense deal or anything that is going to be signed either in France or in US. But what you're looking at is
Hello and welcome. I'm Subhajit Sengupta, and today we are going to discuss Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to the France and the United States of America. He's scheduled to travel today. He'll reach France on 10th and then Washington on 12th. He's likely to meet the new president of the United States, Donald Trump, on 13th. This visit is of great significance, primarily because of the first time PM Modi would be meeting President Donald Trump after he was sworn in for the second time. And to break it down, we have with us Mr. Shishir Gupta, Executive Editor of Hindustan Times, and someone who's been covering the Prime Minister and PMO for more than a decade now. So I'll come to you directly, Shishir. So one question which is there in everybody's mind, that, Democrats and Republicans, the two aspects of US polity. And we have seen whenever it's a Republican government, India has augured well with them. Indian administration has found favorable liking. Do you think that will continue with Donald 2.0 administration as well?
Namaskar. To answer your question, Shubhajit, it's not so simple as that, because India has a bipartisan relationship with the US, and both are natural allies and both have a whole lot of commonalities. So whether it is a Democrat administration or a Republican administration, the synergy between the two nations is always there. But with the Republicans, what happens is that the issues that are on a priority with India are obviously highlighted. And that is why it is seen that they are much more closer to the Republican administration. But the fact remains is, whosoever is in power, whether it was Clinton, whether it was George Bush, whether it was Biden, Obama, or Donald Trump as the 45th president, India's relationship with the US remains on a high keel. And it will continue to remain so.
You've spoken about the convergence of issues. Now, what are the big issues that you think India will converge on, especially in this particular visit? And where do you think there could be a little bit of dissonance between the two?
Shubhajit, I'll take this a step back and let me tell you what it is all about. See, the Prime Minister is going to France and the US. Both are India's closest allies in the democratic world. We have security relationship with both of them. France has given us Rafale M fighters. US has given us Predator drones, C-130J aircraft, C-17 heavy lift aircraft, and is giving a whole lot of ammunition and other things. Now, when the visit starts, the Prime Minister is going to France. France is the major power in Europe. So what he's essentially is going is, he's reaching out to US and he's reaching out to Europe. And the Prime Minister is going to France for the Artificial Intelligence Summit, which he is chairing. Now, artificial intelligence is actually going to be the key to India's manufacturing. So the Prime Minister from there will send a message. Now, after that, he goes and meets Donald Trump on the 13th, and he meets him over there, and over there the agenda actually is an open agenda. The two leaders are not really going into specifics. The two leaders are going to define what are the red lines and what are the acceptable lines. Now, to my understanding is, there has been a lot of back-channel communication between Jaishankar and his counterpart Marco Rubio, between Ajit Doval and his counterpart Mike Waltz, between Defense Minister Rajnath Singh and his counterpart headset. So what is happening is that there is a lot of groundwork that is being prepared for the visit, for both the visits actually. Now the point is, are there going to be dissonance notes? Yes, there could be. But the point is, we do not know, because President Trump will only reveal his mind when he meets his friend Narendra Modi. And the two have a great relationship, let me tell you that. Right? And when President Trump spoke to Narendra Modi on January 27th, he said that Modi will do the right thing. Now, fact remains is that here is Narendra Modi, who says it is India's first. There is Donald Trump, who says make America great again. There is a lot of intersection between them. It is not, simply saying, he's on his trip and he's on his trip. No. The two have a lot of convergence on a whole lot of issues. And that could be terrorism. It could be Indo-Pacific. It could be technology. It could be security. It could be intelligence. There could be dissonance notes, which would be perhaps tariff, perhaps illegal immigration. When I'm saying illegal immigration, I'm not talking about immigration. In tariff, India has already done a whole lot of things in the budget. They have tried to bring out and trying to sort of, lessen the friction out. In illegal immigration, you already seen deportations, which were of people who had illegally immigrated to US. Now, but there is nothing that the two leaders cannot work it out. So this meeting is to understand each other and then lay the roadmap for the future.
So as you've rightly pointed out, it's basically a two-nation visit. First France, where the AI summit is there, and then to US. Of course, US would dominate the headlines because it's Trump, it's Modi, and they're meeting for the first time.
Yes.
All of that is there. So I'll first focus on the US part, and then we'll come to the AI conclave. But on this agenda, you said, you defined that there would be big pointers, and this would essentially will be a meeting which will set the agenda for the next 4 years of governance. So and tie-ups. So if we look into the kind of relationship or kind of method that would be built, so what would be those 4-5 big pointers where they would discuss? What are the big ideas which are being talked about?
What has been there is that, there are these issues where the two can join together, that is particularly in security. Now, let me tell you very clearly, there is no defense deal or anything that is going to be signed either in France or in US. But what you're looking at is, you are looking at US supplying the Predator drones, 31. You are looking at the Indian Navy asking for 6 more P-8I anti-submarine warfare aircraft. You are looking at Air Force asking for additional C-130J Hercules aircraft. So there is a security angle to it. Then there is a intelligence sharing angle to it, where the two sides actually share intelligence, whether it is on Indo-Pacific, whether it is on Quad, whether it is on terrorism in AFPAC region. And the two leaders actually are on a similar page, when it comes to Israel war on Gaza or whether it comes to Ukraine war. So the two want the wars to be stopped. So there are a lot of convergence issues. There are technology sharing issues. The fact remains is that the both leaders understand each other. They both know how Trump has come back to power after whatever was done to him. Prime Minister Modi is the senior most leader now in the Quad. And he's been in power for 3 terms. And they both know each other. They both know the electoral significance of each other. So there'll be a whole lot of mutual respect in that. And there'll be a whole lot of, convergence in bringing the two sides together. So to say that, there will be a tariff issue, of course, because there will be a tariff issue, because he wants America to grow, just like Narendra Modi wants India to grow. So, but the fact remains is, there is nothing the two can't work it out. I mean, if he's going to come up with a proposal, Prime Minister Modi has a huge team with himself. You have Jaishankar, Ajit Doval is going. You have Foreign Secretary going. There'll be the Commerce Department will be sitting over there. The finance staffs will be there. So whatever proposal will come, if it is acceptable and if it is workable, India will do it. If it is not, India will give a counter proposal.
So you spoke about tariff. There's another point which we would like to bring in here. US and India have had a steady relationship, but this is one place regarding India's reliance on Russia for key defense deals, key defense equipments and partnerships. So do you think that will also come up, and how do you think India will navigate these? Because India has always maintained that stand that while I have my relationship with you, I also have my relationship with Putin, and we want to keep both of them on the same page, or we would grow as per India's needs.
There is obviously India looks towards Russia for supplies, but the fact remains is that 60% of Indian hardware is of Russian origin. You can't just wish it away. You can't just wish away somebody who has been your long and steady ally. And India always believes in strategic autonomy. So India will talk to Russia, India will talk to US, India even talks to China, India even talks to all the powers that are big. Because it talks to all these people in its own interest. It is not for their interest that he's talking to. So the Russian relationship will continue, and that President Trump also understands that. The world understands that whole relationship, that's where it is. But this is not what is going to be the inhibiting factor. What is going to be the defining phase of this meeting is where do we go forward from here?
Right.
Where do we go forward in Indo-Pacific with the rise of China? With alternate supply chains, with technology, with AI, new systems that are coming.
So, in fact, you've been speaking about rise of China. That's exactly somewhere I would also want to go. That we spoke about Russia, where there is a dissonance. But one place where we've seen increasing convergence of Indian and US interest is also around China, where both see China as an aggressive nation which is trying to undermine both the countries. We've seen India banning Chinese apps. We have seen similar actions taking place much later in US as well. Though Trump has gone back on TikTok, but the larger issue remains about Chinese AI companies, Chinese hardware and everything. So how do you think that India and US is likely to partner in a way to counter China in this growing multipolar world?
I don't think so. This is a very simplistic explanation to say that, India and US are going to gang up against China. No. There is competition, there is strategic competition, there is threat. I mean, one can't just simply wish away May 2020. One can't wish away Galwan. One can't wish away what is happening in Indian Ocean region. Similarly, the Americans can't wish away what is happening in the Indo-Pacific, what is happening in Guam, what is happening in the Sea of Japan. So there is a competition. But to say that they are ganging up, no, they are not. Because we are all looking at things as to where the challenge is coming from, whether it's a technological, security or whatever, and then meeting it. That is where it is. So the point in this is that, yes, the two understand the competition that is coming from China. Yes, the two are independently challenging it. But to say that joining hands, no, they are not.
That's a very interesting perspective, because there's been a lot of chatter about this. But what you said clearly makes a lot more sense, that it's a very simplistic way to look at it. But there's another country which is again in the subcontinent, which is Pakistan. US has been going hot and cold with Pakistan ever since 1947. How do you see Trump's stand on this? How do you think this will, Pakistan, Afghanistan, India, this entire quagmire would evolve in the Trump administration, where we've seen him withdrawing troops from places, he's not being as supportive of wars in the Middle Eastern region of the world, per se?
Simply put, to my mind, Pakistan will not feature at all, because of the very simple fact that US is tired after 20 years of AFPAC. India is not looking towards Pakistan until it stops cross-border terrorism. So I do not think Pakistan is any factor anywhere. It may be a factor on TV channels, it is not here. There are much larger things that are happening in the world. There is this whole business of starting the Middle East Economic Corridor, which takes all the involved countries, that is India, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, all of them together, Israel, these ports in Europe, all of them together to have a new Silk Route. It is this economic corridor that may be discussed. There is Indo-Pacific. Looking at, then there is this whole business of, with the global warming, new sea routes being opened in the Arctic region. What are the security threats to that route? There are a whole lot of other activities that are happening. Pakistan is a minnow in the game. I don't think so. It features anywhere.
So we'll move to France next. But before we do that, I would want to have that last word on US from you. What are the big points that you're looking out? What are the big stories that we're going to see coming in? Though, as you said, this is more about setting the agenda. But what are the key big 4-5 points that we would see which will come up in the talks?
See, there will be convergence on terrorism, 100%. On pan-Islamic jihad, there will be convergence. There will be convergence on Ukraine and on Gaza war. I mean, President Trump has already spoken to President Putin. President Putin has already said that, he would also like to put an end to the war. So these are these big ticket items. Then is this technology sharing. Then there is quantum computing. Then there is Indo-Pacific. Then there is Middle East Economic Corridor. The agenda is huge with US. I mean, it's a multiple agenda. The only things that could possibly lead to friction or lead to some sort of, proposals and counter proposals would be possibly tariff and trade tariff. But remember one thing, India is a $4 trillion economy. US is a $27 trillion economy. It is for President Trump to strategically balance the two. It just simply cannot, go after India for something that's happening all over the world. So India may become a collateral damage in President Trump's global policies. But I do not think that he's going to target India specifically on any issue.
Exactly, and that's what we've seen in the current last list of tariffs as well, that India has not been marked there, while a lot of other countries, China, Mexico, have come in there. So we would move to France now.
There is one more thing that
okay,
could
please.
come up, is that the tariffs on Mexico and the tariffs on China were because of the fentanyl, that was coming into US. India also has a huge drug problem. And these drugs are coming all over on the western coast. And they're coming from the northeast. Northeast chemical drugs, this side it is cocaine, heroin and all. So India also has a huge drug issue. And this issue is now you're getting cocaine all the way from South America using various routes. So the two also could join hands under the Quad platform or under any bilateral platform to stop this whole business of sort of, this death being exported all over the world. So this is also going to be a major issue.
Absolutely. The countries on which US has imposed tariff has traditionally been the countries which has affected India's narco business as well. Bust after bust, we've seen that these are the countries where it actually leads up to, and Afghanistan, of course, added to it.
The thing is, if you stop drugs, you also stop terrorism. That is the fundamental link in this. Because this is what it feeds into terrorism. And this is what needs to be stopped. So he's right when he does that.
It's not just narco-terrorism, it's narco and terrorism.
Yes, absolutely.
So moving on to France. He's meeting Macron at a very interesting time in French politics right now. 2 years down the line, we don't know what would be the shape and figure of French polity. But the fact is, as a country, you have to maintain relation with France. Whoever comes in, France's domestic matter. So how do you think in this light, the meeting is going to shape up?
See, with France, what is happening domestically is obviously there is a rise of right over there. You can see it very clearly. And you can see that President Emmanuel Macron is a bit on a back foot. But this does not impact the relationship with India at all. France is India's perhaps the closest ally. Understand that. While no deal is expected to be signed right now, defense deal, but there are two deals, major deals that are coming up. One is the acquisition of 26 Rafale maritime strike aircraft. This deal will go through perhaps next month or maybe a month later. Construction of 3 additional Scorpion class submarines, that is going to go through. There is this whole debate and whole activity which is going on Make in India, which is Make in India supply of M88 engines. While we are on this, there is also conversation with the US on supply of F404 engines for Tejas and supply of F414 engines for Tejas Mark II. So what you're looking at is a whole lot of manufacturing under the rubric of Make in India, under Atmanirbhar Bharat. And this will actually lead to manufacturing really going up in India. Now, there's one more thing that possibly is looking at is with France is the Make in India for Airbus 400M heavy lift aircrafts. So there is a whole lot of security, there is a whole lot of bilateral cooperation, there is a whole lot of political convergence. And President Macron, again, is very close to Prime Minister Modi, just as he's close to President Trump.
Right. So I'll come to the last topic today, is the AI summit. I mean, it's a huge, it has come, it's like a roller coaster which has come, and all of us are being impacted some way or the other. So we saw Sam Altman coming to India and he speaking about how India is emerging as one of the biggest markets for OpenAI. There's also the Indian talent which is there globally. Looking at that, how do you think the AI summit and Prime Minister Modi chairing it, and what are the implications of that on the larger ecosystem that we can expect?
Let me tell you something. There were many people who wanted to co-chair the AI summit in France. I'm not going to take names of the country, but there were some countries which are upset actually that why is Prime Minister Narendra Modi co-chairing the summit. But President Emmanuel Macron made it amply clear to everybody that it is going to be Prime Minister Narendra Modi. AI is the thing for the future. AI is the thing which India needs to go. Just like India went into 5G, India now is looking at 6G. These are emerging technologies. These are technologies which will help India to create a military industrialization base. This is what is the requirement for future, and to make India actually sit on the global high table.
Thank you so much. As always, it's been a delight to get all your perspective in this. So we are set for a very interesting week. Today is Monday, and over the next 4-5 days, we will see how India's agenda with US, France and AI being set up. Thank you so much for watching.
Namaskar.